You know, one of the things that I truly believe is one of the most difficult feelings we could ever experience in life is when we come to the conclusion that this part of my life is not what I thought it was going to be. Anybody? My favorite movie of all times is Castaway. Y'all know that movie? I know some of y'all a little young, but my older crowd, we know Castaway. And Tom Hanks, he's this FedEx executive, and he ends up stranded on a deserted island after his plane crashes. And for years, he stays on this island where he learns how to find food, shelter, and water. Tom was even losing his mind. But he had a best friend volleyball. I need everybody to say it with me like you know the name. Wilson! Right? And so Tom finally decided that he was going to make an escape. So he built a raft from the remnants of the plane crash. And when he returned home, he returned to a world that had moved on without him. Even his longtime girlfriend of years, he's going to marry this girl. She had started a whole family without this guy. You know, and I'm like this young teenager, and I'm saying to myself, Tom, you went through like 3 life crises, bruh, where I'm sure you said to yourself, how did I end up here? Anyone who's ever been through something, we know what that statement means, right? Yeah, it refers to a surprise, yes? It refers to a significant change that happened in the blink of an eye. It is going from what was planned and then finding yourself in a completely different destination. In most cases, it is the epitome of surviving, not thriving. You know, has life ever took an unexpected turn for the worse? For some of us, it could be just the simple things like going to the grocery store to get the items on the list, but you at Target. So you know how that goes, right? You're not just going to get one thing. You're going to get other things that don't belong to it. Or just the simple things like listening to the GPS and your best friend gives you a call and you keep missing the exit and it keeps rerouting you. That's what I'm talking about right here. Life happens fast for so many of us in this room. You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm 37 years old. And I'm having real life conversations with my friends about how we don't heal like we used to. Like, let me just wait. like literally what took me 7 days when I was 18, 19, now takes me a whole year to heal from now. I'm playing racquetball. I didn't even know I was going to play racquetball, but I found myself playing it. Life happens so fast. You know, I think for many of us, when we say that, how did I end up here? I think about the time in my life where I became a 10-time All-American. I became a 3-time NCAA national champion, and I make the USA track and field team. And I'm 14 days away from the biggest moment of my life. I'm heading to Wachenschau, Germany for a tune-up race to get ready for world championships. And I felt like I was firing at all cylinders. Mentally, physically, spiritually, I was ready for the moment. The gunman says, runners, take your mark. And this is the moment right here. I'm so excited, passionate about this moment, knowing that this could be the moment for me. I get ahead of the competition. I come off that turn, lighten it up. Y'all see me lighten it up right here on the edge. And I end up pulling my hamstring right there and walking across the finish line in dead last. Let me tell y'all, that is the biggest walk of shame of my life right there. That moment felt like this moment. How did I end up here? And I think many of us, we can relate to those things where you got everything going for you. You got the stride, you found your pace, and then life happens to you. And I say adversity happens always at inconvenient times for me because it will never be a convenient time for adversity to show up. I'm just saying. And so my coach, he calls me. He says, Charles, how bad is this injury? I'm like, Coach, I don't know how bad this injury is. He says to me, well, you think you're going to be able to bounce back in a short amount of time? You got 14 days. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, then he says, the USA track and field team, they want you to give up your spot to someone who's more physically able. And I'm like, hold on, bro. I did not travel thousands of miles across this world. I didn't train 11 years of my life just to be like better luck next year, yes? I had a real passion to make something of myself. And I feel like many of you in this room, you got a real passion to make something of yourself. And it was greater than the excuses and the complaints that most people give into. So I said, Coach, we got to figure out something else. And we end up putting together a rehab program. I'm icing, I'm stretching, I'm seeing my physiologist, I'm working on myself every single chance that I could. And come race day, no one knew what I was going to do. But I already made up in my mind, I got to make the best out of this. Yes?
Yes.
First round of 200-meter dash, I make it through to the second round. Second round, I make it through to the third round. Third round, I make it through to the finals. The biggest moment of my life. And in that final fourth round, I earned the title as the sixth fastest man in the world. Now, Usain Bolt, he whooped my butt that day. I'm not even gonna lie. He broke the world record. But let me tell you, sometimes when you focus on everybody else's business, you'll never see the blessing that you have. You got to start looking within yourself to find that happiness and appreciation. Yes? Yeah. That's where it takes place. You know, I've learned something in that moment is when you use your circumstances as character building moments, you gain the capacity needed to handle the magnitude of your responsibility. At every level of success, there's going to be a higher degree of commitment involved from you and a lower threshold of excuses. And as you continue to rise to the next level, life is going to check you, it's going to challenge you, it's going to allow you to test that line of holding yourself accountable to the highest degree. Now, I feel like most of us in this room, we're used to being resilient, aren't we? At the cost of losing sight of anything that is not significant for you to achieve a set outcome. Anybody? We're resilient in that way. I got to lose sight of it. But the thing that I was going to deal with next, it was going to require some introspective. It was going to require me to look deep within myself, because after I became the sixth fastest man in the world, I had one season left before turning pro. I'm getting ready to sign a multi-million-dollar deal. And one day at practice, I was doing 120-meter sprints, and I heard a pop in my right quad muscle. And that pain that I felt when the doctors looked at my MRI, they said, "Charles, you got a 99% tear in your muscle. You'll never be able to run as fast as you did." And on top of that, my college girlfriend broke up with me at the time. You know? I ended up moving back in with my old roommate, my mama. Okay? When life gives you a kick in the butt, it gives you all up in there, right? And I remember I was sitting at the bottom of the steps, my head dangling towards the ground. My mom, she's pacing back and forth because she never seen her son so broken before. And she asked me, she said, "Son, what do you need me to do to fix this?" And I'm sure I got many parents in the room who will take that burden of their kids, wouldn't you? We'll just take it. And I realized in that moment, Mom, you can't fix this part. I'm the one. I'm the one that got to be responsible for this. I'm the one who's not going to settle for the establishment that was set before me, but I got to create my own legacy, Ma. I'm the one. I'm the one who's going to become that millionaire. But I need free rent for a couple of years. Yes. And I remember I went back into that room and I said to myself, if I'm going to be the one, what is it going to take for me to be the one? What is it going to take for me to be successful? And I wrote down one word: thrive. I got to thrive. And I feel like so many people, we have toxic versions of what success is, and that's based off of what other people do to validate our success. We base it based off our past, or we base it based off of our circumstances. But I think one of the healthiest things that we can do is choose a healthier version of success, which to me is thrive. And my failures and my success, I become the best version of myself, no matter what that experience may look like. See, when life tests you, you got to understand this great truth. You can't always control an outcome, but you can always make choices that are best for you. Yes? In our moments of surviving, we can still choose to thrive. And thriving has nothing to do with the perfect life. Let me tell you that. Thriving is about taking a chance. Thriving is about understanding that who you are is not determined by what you've been through, but by the dignity and the respect that you keep along the way. Thriving is trusting the process, even though you might not know the details, but you know you're covered. Thriving is a choice. And today I want to share some choices that you can make so that when we do experience that adversity, we're going to experience it, yes? When you have those long nights of being able to study and you don't want to study, you want to go to sleep. Or you got to have those conversations with your team. And you got to fire someone because they're not equipped to be a part of that team. You got to have those hard moments. And you got to choose to thrive in those moments. And today I want to give you just a couple of ways that you can choose to thrive today. Who's with me on that? Yes? Yes. Number one thing I want to give you today in choosing to thrive. First, actually, I wanted to do a couple affirmations because we got to get in the right mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, all the skill set that you have in the world will go away in the moment of adversity, yes? So when you begin to master your mind, you can handle the challenges that come your way. One of the things that I know about science, it's called the reticular activating system. And what that does is, RAS for short, is whatever you start to feed your mind, life will show you more of that. So for example, if you focus on negative things, life will give you more negative results. If you focus on the good gets better. Yes? So we got to learn that the first place we begin to start is in the mind. So I want you to begin to say a couple of these affirmations with me. Say it after me, please. I am no longer waiting for permission.
I am no longer waiting for permission.
Yeah, that was cute, right? When you're in adversity, I'm no longer waiting for permission. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to really affirm to yourself, I am no longer waiting for permission.
I am no longer waiting for permission.
But I'm giving it to myself. I'm giving it to myself. Yeah, here we go. I am letting go of the old me and making space for the better version of me. All right, give me a level 10 now. That was level 5. Give me a level 10, just a little more. I release what no longer serves me.
I release what no longer serves me.
And step boldly into my vision. Yeah, 2 more I want to give you. This is the year for greater health, more peace, and financial increase. Can I get that last part? Yes. Y'all clap for yourself. 2025 is the year that I rise and I thrive.
2025 is the year that I rise and I thrive.
You know, and when you guys started to do that, I started to see many people start to smile. Words have power. They're not just an expression of how you feel, but it's a manifestation for how you live your life. Be careful what you say to yourself, yes?
Yes.
One of the first things I want to give you, just a little side note, is if you're going to tap into this version of Thrive, you got to start asking yourself the right questions. Like, do I like me? Like, do I like this version of me? Do I like the way I show up? Do I like the way I show up in the morning? Do I like the way I talk to myself? Like, is this the best version of me? Do I like me? Because I think we live in a world where we just keep going, where we don't stop to think, where we're so easily bombarded by everything that's going on, by our email thread, by our text messages, by social media. And because of that, we can get in this race of not living up to our full potential, and we live in mediocrity. But let me tell you, this is not your season to go through a hard time and for you to start building bad habits and for you to start liking that person. This is not your season to be okay with not being okay. This is not your season to do what makes you happy. No, this is your season to do what makes you better. If truly you want to tap into this version of Thrive for you, you got to ask yourself that hard question. Do I like me? And, you know, it's okay if you say to yourself, you know what, Charles, I don't like that part of me, but I do love that about me. It's okay for you to identify those struggles that we have because we all going to have them, yes? Give me one perfect person in this room. Raise your hand real quick so people can see. Like, we're all going to have our struggles. So, you know, never walk into a space thinking that everybody in this room got it all together but me. But when you learn to work on yourself in that way, you start to identify certain things that you need to change, and then that becomes your moment of Thrive, yes? So start asking yourself that question. What do I need to change about me to improve? So the first thing I want to give you today is you got to accept the process now. Accept the process. Harvard University, they did a study and they found out that 85% of our success is contributed to our mindset. Now, what's not helping our mindset is the fact that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Get this part. We got 60,000 thoughts a day, and roughly 80% of those thoughts are negative. So how can you expect me to accept the process when 80% of my thoughts are negative, Charles? Well, here's the thing. I used to think that every thought that I had was true, that my initial thoughts deserved my commitment, and then I found out how short-ended that was. What's more important is that you pay extra attention to what you value and not everything that you think. Because what you value will reveal what you will celebrate and what you will tolerate. See, going about life this way, you know what it'll do? It'll have you canceling out the things that don't serve you. It'll have you canceling out those negative thoughts and negative energy, people that you hanging around with, you got no business hanging around with. It'll have you canceling out those thoughts so that you can get better served in the mission and the vision that you have for your life. I had to understand that for myself. I have to be someone who's going to walk in accordance to what I said I was going to do long before I did it. Like if I said I was going to trust the process, I got to trust the process now, yes? If I said, you know what, I'm going to love myself more, I got to love myself more. But I think we live in a society where our yes isn't our yes. Our no is easily swayed by other people's agenda. And because of that, we downplay our low performance and we make it okay, just to be okay. But I had to understand, I got to honor my word. My yes has to be my yes. And your yes, when your yes is your yes, in the struggle, it's hard, yes? It's really hard to say, you know what, I said it, now I got to walk through it. Let me give you an example of that. So, my friends, I stay in Tampa, and they love to go to Universal Studios in Orlando. You know, that's about a 5-hour drive now. I don't know. The GPS will tell you it's only 60 minutes. All right, for real. Okay, 5 hours. And so my friends aren't cheap too. They like to get the fast pass. I got any fast passers out there? They get the fast pass. And, you know, I'm just telling them, hey, you know, I don't want to ride on any rides. I'm the type of guy that's just going to hold your stuff. Like, that's just me. I'm folded up. It's going to come back nice and neat for you. And come on, let's go on to the next one. Enjoy yourself. And I'm like, no, I don't want to ride any rides. They say, Charles, we got to do it. I just come for the Cinnabons, man. Come on, like for real. And so I agreed. I said, yeah, my yes is my yes. Let's go on these rides. I get on the first ride. I'm in line. And my body is starting to shake. Like literally, it's shaking. And this kid, he's looking at me. He's about this height, barely able to get on roller coaster. I'm about to call it a flight because it felt like a flight. And he looked up at me and he said, "You scared or something, man?" And I'm like, you know, first of all, where your mama at? Like, you need to mind your business over here. Like, I turned over to my friend. I said, Daniel, Chris, I'm a little scared. And he said, Charles, look, if you want to make this ride enjoyable, relax and enjoy the ride. I said, okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna relax and enjoy the ride. I get on this roller coaster. Click, click, click. And I'm calling over the instructor, the guy who's going to push the button. I said, excuse me, sir, can you come over here and make sure everything's good? And he's just giving me a thumbs up like this. He's chilling, like he's just giving me a thumbs up. I said, sir, can you come over here? Like loud. And he's just doing this. Ride takes off. I am in full panic mode right now. Ride is going up. Click, 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 click for about 60 seconds. I don't know what's going on, but all I'm hearing is these clicks. And all you hear is this little girl yelling so loud. Everyone's turning around and looking at me because I was the one that was yelling like a little girl. You know, I got proof for it. That's me right there at the bottom. You see this guy right here? Like, my friends are having the time of his life. He's smiling like he need to be on Crust TV show or something like that. Daniel's laughing. And me, I got a heart attack right there. I get off the roller coaster ride. I said, how did I do? They said, nah, man, we got to take this picture, though. Like, it's good. This is good. They said, Charles, let's go on the next ride. So I go on the next ride. Same thing happens. He said, Charles, don't worry about it. Let's go on the next ride. And something different took place that time. The very thing that I was afraid about, I began to love it. How can you move that way in your mind, where you can find fear in one area, where it becomes anxiety, and then you get excited for it? And this is what I learned, parallelisms of fear. Fear can be anxiety, or it can be excitement. Most people view it as anxiety, so when the moment you view it as anxiety, you retreat back to your comfort zone. How many of you guys can agree to that? But when you start viewing things in your life, as those challenges that you have, as excitement, your best version becomes on the other side of it. Maya Angelou said it like this. She said, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Discomfort is not an enemy of your process, yes? It's a part of it. So how can you begin to accept the process? Well, the thing I need you to understand, the kind of person you are is dependent on how committed you are to your promises. If you said yes, let it be a yes. If you said no, let it be a no. And if it's in 24 hours, don't cancel. Show up anyway, even though you got other things going on. Yes? Honor that. And the other thing I want to give you in accepting the process is you got to learn to get okay with it. Get okay with rejection. Get okay that everybody's not going to like you. And it may not be a reflection of your character, but a statement of what other people value. Get okay that your career might not be popular, but it's what you desire and you believe that's the purpose you should walk in. Yes? Get okay with it. The more you get okay with the hard thing, the more you can embrace the process and move forward. The other thing I want to give you is I'm going to give you the third thing. Is the ready, set, go technique. The ready, set, go technique is the most memorable thing that people walk away with. And I want to share this with you because I believe so many of us, we get caught into procrastination. Anybody? Yeah, we overthink. Come on, y'all raise your hand. Come on, help me out. Yeah, we overthink. We overthink it. We procrastinate. And I say procrastination is the assassination of your greatest destination. When you procrastinate, you end up lagging behind the pack. I'm going to give you this command that I use. I hate getting in cold tubs every morning, but I do it with this ready, set, go technique. So ready simply means there's an opportunity before you. So every morning that you wake up, I want you to start saying to yourself, ready, set, go, ready, set, go, ready, set, go. Practice it. Ready, set, go. Come on. Yep. Yep. Yeah. The moment the alarm clock goes off, you say ready, set, go. Ready simply means there's an opportunity before you. Get ready for it. Set means I have to get locked in on one action. What is the one action I must take? Not the goal, because the goal is what gets us to procrastinate. We get overwhelmed by it. I want you to focus on the one action. It's the crawl before the walk. It's the mindset before the reality. It's the dollar before you make the millions, yes? Ready, set, go. And then the last one is you go. You do it now. You do it right now. You make the phone call. You do the text message. You study. You do the hard thing. Because how differently would your life be if you knew the plans before you wasn't meant to harm you, but to make you better? How differently would that be? How different would your life be if you knew the plans before you weren't meant to harm you? How differently would your life be if you knew what that finish line looked like? That's how you begin to accept the process. Yes? Number two, third thing I want to give you, I want to ask you a quick question. I want you to scan this QR code. I want to ask you, what has had the biggest impact on your mental health this year? What has had the biggest impact on your mental health this year? Positive or negative? What has had the biggest impact on your mental health? All right. Someone said loneliness, mindset, hurricanes, get used to it. Presidency, politics, workload, election, family health, election, grade school, workload, spouse. I don't know if that's good or bad. Physical health, my family support system, raising a teenager, injuries, getting engaged, congratulations, excessive worry. You know, so many of us in this room, I just want you to know, we're carrying things with us that most people will never see. And we end up carrying the stress when we're never called to carry anything of that magnitude. What I want to give you that's helpful is responding to your stress versus becoming the stress. It's a big difference in mindset. Respond to the stress versus becoming the stress. Now, a healthy dose of stress is actually advantageous to your growth. But the moment you become stressed, you know what you do? You fail to extract the optimism that's needed to handle that experience. So every single one of us in this room, we know what happens when we're stressed, don't we? It happens in moments where we're just doing too much. It happens in moments where we're focused too much on the future, too much on the past, and avoiding what's going on in the room. Anybody can relate to that? Come on, raise your hand. Yep. And so let me give you an example of that. So after I retired from track and field, I said to myself, I just want to work out 5 times a week. I want to keep my abs as long as possible. That's my goal. And I'm traveling around the world. I'm doing different keynotes. I'm in Boston, and they put me in the Omni Hotel down at the seaport, and it was this beautiful state-of-the-art gym on the inside, and they had the Peloton bike inside of the gym. And I'm trying to figure out what all this hype is about the Peloton bike, so I said, I'm going to try it. I get on the bike, and there was a ranking system involved in the workout. Now, I'm a world-class athlete, y'all. If I see any ranking system in anything, I'm going to beat you. You know, if you next to me on a treadmill and you going 6 or 7, I'm cranking the thing all the way up, and I'm going to look at you like, what's up, let's go. And so I'm on this bike, and I said to myself, I got to beat everybody now. My hat's on backwards. I'm locked in. I'm fully ready to go. And I realized, like, 2 minutes into this workout, my goal to be in first place, it won't going to work out. I'm just saying. Like, I'm sweating profusely. I'm about to just quit. I'm out of my mind. And I said, let me just settle for top 5. I'm cool with that. Y'all ever negotiate with yourself after you said one thing? That was me. I was negotiator. I was the negotiator. And so I said, top 5, I'm cool with that. And it was a real battle going on at this point. It was me versus Peloton Mom. That was her name. That Peloton Mom was her name. And so, like, I'm clicking on her profile. I'm like, how is she keeping up with me? Like, what is she doing? And I realized she wasn't doing what the class was doing. The class was, like, cooling down for a moment. She was gunning towards the finish line. And I'm like, where's the support team? Because I need to report this lady. She's cheating. She's cheating. Somebody get her. For real. And I said, you know what? Whatever Peloton Mom does, I'm going to do it now. And so me and Peloton Mom, we're getting locked in. Everybody's on a cool down lap, and I'm just sweating. I don't supposed to be sweating like this. I got a keynote in a couple minutes. I'm going at it. We got like 60 seconds into this workout before the time runs out. 30 seconds, and we're neck and neck. 10, 9, 8. I think I got her. 2, 1. I said, what's up? Looked at the scoreboard, and she beat me. She beat me. And immediately I went to Peloton1.com, and I was like, I'm about to buy this $3,000 Peloton bike so I can find and beat all these Peloton moms out there. Well, I bought the bike, y'all. And you know what I said to myself after I came down off my stress was like, how often do we do certain things like that? Where we allow outside certain situations to define our definition of failure or success, and we get stressed out. Now, here's the thing. Neuroscientists have pointed out that our brain capacity is infinite. That means that at any given moment, you have a plethora of options to choose from. You can choose love or hate. You can choose objection or change. You can choose stress or pressure. So what I need you to understand is life does not go into your emotional wardrobe and pick out your emotion. You decide that part. Yes? You decide the emotion even if it's something that you can't control. Now I want to give you 3 things that's going to allow you to get control of your stress. Now I work with thousands of athletes, Olympians, world-class athletes, MLB teams, NFL teams, and I teach them this formula. They only got like 30 seconds to change their mindset in a situation. And so I want to teach this to you. In moments of stress, you can change your thought just like this. Number 1 I want to give you is breathe. Breathing, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and that allows you to think with logic and reason. When the mind is quiet, decisions are what? Decisions are sound. But when we're stressed out and we absorb that stress, we can't think clearly, can we? Y'all just yell out a couple things that you feel when you're stressed out. Anger. Yeah, you want to get silent like you just did, right? Like, it's so many things we feel overwhelmed. But in our moments of realizing that I can respond to the moment, there's a sense of calmness. The technique that I use is I call it the deep 3. So you breathe in and you let out for 3 seconds. Y'all practice it with me real quick. Breathe in and let it out 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Let out for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And one more time. Breathe in and let out for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. That little moment, what you need, can save you from getting fired. That little moment right there can save you from saying the wrong things at the wrong time. That little moment right there will have you getting back to your center and having a clear mind. When the mind is quiet, decisions are sound. Number 2 is observe in that moment now. Instead of having a fixed mindset, have a growth mindset. And when I say about observing, just zoom out. Get out your problem. You are too fixated on it. You got your nose in it. It is not cute. So just zoom out, right? Zoom out. Zoom out of your problem. And if you feel like that's not enough for you to go out, zoom out more. Get out into space. And so you can understand just how small that problem can be. Become your best friend. That's what I say. And the third thing I want to give you is to align your choice to your passion, not the stress. Align your choice to your passion. How can you do that? You choose to control what you can control, rather than allowing what you can't control you, yes? Yeah. You let go of the things that disable you, and you persevere in hardship. Those 3 little things, breathe, observe, align my choice to my passion, that's what allows me to stay in my thrive zone and not my negative zone. Last thing I want to give you today, and choosing to thrive. Actually, I want to give you guys a free copy of this book here. So yeah, another choice that you have is to choose your purpose. Choose your purpose. So many of us, we get stuck in our shame and our pain that we are unable to see the blessing, let alone the calling we were meant to fulfill in this world. But in reality, it is those who feel unqualified that are the ones that should lead first. Because it's the experiences that we've been through that become the bait for our biggest catch yet. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. When you live life on purpose, the very thing that you can't change, it changes you. It molds you. It shapes you. It makes you everything that the Creator had in mind. So why do we allow our past to impede on our purpose, when in reality, it's our past that helps us to fulfill our purpose? See, if you struggle with anxiety, guess what? You're qualified to help other people find peace. If you mastered a skill or art, you're qualified to help other people in their pursuit. If you grieved, you're qualified to be a comforter for other people. So we got to stop living life consumed by what we've been through. Whether you say you were divorced, whether you say you were a liar, whether you say you were an absent father, and you got to start living life like the very thing that you've been through, it makes you qualified. Yes? I'm using my stuff. Because I come too far to be watered down by my pain. You know, I talk about the moment where I struggled from K through 12. I wasn't a good reader or writer growing up. I watched my friends go on to the 2nd grade without me, put in remedial classes, make fun of because of my academic challenges. Sitting out a semester, watching my friends go on to college without me. Passing the SAT by 1 point, the skin of my teeth. And going to Florida State University and making the dean's list in ACC honor roll, that I would become the 6th fastest man in the world. And I would lose it all due to an injury. But who knew that that would be the moment of moving back at home with my mom? I would get a phone call that would change my life. My activities coordinator at Bayside High School, the school I went to, she called me. She said, "Charles, I want you to come speak to the students." And I said to her, I said, "Miss Corporal, I'm sorry, nobody wants to hear this story. I don't even have a car to get to and from places. I'm struggling right now." She said, "I ain't asked you about all of that, boy. I said, come to the school." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to be there." And I spoke that day. And that was the moment that would change everything for me. I remember at the end of the event, I was asked to take pictures with a group of teenagers. And one teenager, I'll never forget this person. She came up to me with tears in her eyes, desperate to get to me. And she said, "Sir, I got to let you know something. What you said on that stage that changed my life today." She said, "This might be a tearjerker for many people in this room." She said, "I felt like killing myself today. But you make me want to live my dream." And I'm thinking, how can she see something like that inside of me? I don't got my life together. I'm thinking in order for me to be respected and appreciated, I needed some gold medal around my neck. But she showed me at the edge of a high school auditorium, it's so much bigger than you. that if I can impact somebody in my struggle, man, imagine what I can do in my success. Living for a reason, it will dare you to live life beyond the boundaries of what you are facing. It's why firefighters, police officers, people just like you would do things that regular people wouldn't do because they understand the significance of their calling that they have on their life. That moment would change everything for me. Who knew that it would be a moment for me to write 3 best-selling books, be a moment for me to be an international speaker, be a moment to have one of the largest speaker bureaus in Florida, all because I decided to show up in moments where I almost gave up. How can you do that for you? How can you choose your purpose today? Well, there's this concept called the ripple effect. It's when one action extends far beyond the original event. You know, it's much like a drop of water that you add to a napkin and it starts to spread. Our life is the same way. You know, the drops of discomfort that you have, the drops of pain, the drops of anxiety, the drops of difficulty, it could be used to build a greater story tomorrow. I found that in those moments where we really want to hide, in those moments where we feel too ashamed, those are the greatest moments where you need to stand up and speak up. And you do it 3 ways. 3 things I want to show you. You act out of purpose. You make decisions based off of how you want to be remembered. And when you make decisions based off of how you want to be remembered, you understand that every word you say, it matters, yes? Number 2, you live in your purpose. You pursue your gifts, your passions, even if it's not your main job, yes? You know, I was so encouraged when I heard Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous street sweeper speech. He said that even if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, go out and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Handel and Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that the heavens and the earth had to pause and say, oh man, that here lives a great sweeper who swept his job well. Every single one of us, guess what? We're street sweepers. We're little pixels, a part of a big thing. And that's how you begin to understand your job matters. Teachers, you matter. Business owners, you matter. And how we show up, it matters. And the last thing is, you use it for your purpose. Allow the things that crush your spirit and break your heart to build a greater purpose tomorrow. What I say today is this really simple thing. You're here, it doesn't have to be a tolerated version of survival. But let your how did I end up here, let it mean something this time. Let it be your biggest blessing. Let it be your rise and thrive. Let it be your I'm standing and I'm stronger because of it. Let it be your I love me some me, y'all. Because at the end of the day, you deserve to be strong and not silent. Yes? You deserve to be compassionate and not your worst critic. You deserve to get back up. I had to understand this. When I was dealing with my hard time, when I felt like giving up, when I felt like not showing up, I had to understand that my life, it could not be lived without me. So I might as well give it my best shot. I'm Charles Clark, and I always say, make your day as great as you want it to be. But before you do that, just make sure you consider just how precious your life is, y'all. You don't have tomorrow because all you got is right now. So don't let the door hit you on the way out. I love you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.